Yes, he's joined.
All
Hello,
right.
Doc.
All right. Thank you very much for. Am I live?
Yes, you are.
Please, is the session being recorded?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Borisa, and then Muda for such a wonderful presentation. Now, this second part of the seminar is to look at how, as researchers, as academics, or as practitioners, how we can rely on Google Scholar to be able to get a source for literature, for our literature review, for the purpose of an academic paper, or for the purpose of a thesis or dissertation. To do this, let me first of all share my screen. The presentation will be in two parts. I will take about 5-10 minutes to just have a very brief discussion to create an understanding of what Google Scholar is and how different Google Scholar is from the traditional Google search we may do. And then we'll get our hands dirty by diving into some practicalities in terms of how we can use Google Scholar to get some literature for our work. Okay, I'm currently sharing my screen, and I hope all the participants are able to see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Can you, moderator, can you confirm?
Yes, please.
My screen? Okay.
We see your screen.
Okay, so my name is Ibrahim Osman Adam from the Center for ICT4D. This part of the presentation would examine critically how to use Google Scholar for literature review. And then to do so, I will try to create your indulgence by following this presentation outline. First of all, I'll try to explain what we mean by Google Scholar. And then that will be the first part. Part of it will include examining critically the components of the search results presented by Google Scholar if we're looking for a particular phrase or some keywords. We will also examine some professional tips which one can use when relying on Google Scholar for literature search. We would also examine another critical part of the Google Scholar page, which is the sidebar, and how we can use the sidebar to enhance our search results. Then, apart from traditionally relying on the Google Scholar web page, this we have the Google Scholar button, and we'll explain how we can rely on the Google Scholar button, how we can add it to our browser from the Chrome Web Store to be able to use Google Scholar easily. The last bit would be to examine how we can rely on the advanced search interface to enhance our search results using Google Scholar. Now, Google Scholar is not the only academic search engine out there, but Google Scholar is the most frequently used academic search engine by academics and practitioners out there. We used to have Microsoft Academic, which was powered by Microsoft, but this was discontinued in December 2021, I think. We also have Semantic Scholar, which has also been in existence for quite some time. It has become much more prominent after its relaunch in 2015. And Semantic Scholar seems to be the closest competitor to Google Scholar currently. We also have an academic search engine hosted by the Bielefeld University in Germany, which, if you are looking for open access articles and academic content, this may also be where you can find it. So Google Scholar is not the only academic search engine, but it is the most popular and most frequently used search engine. Now, the question is, what is Google Scholar? Google Scholar is basically a free academic search engine that is just a version, an academic version of the ordinary or traditional Google search engine. How is Google Scholar different from the normal Google search we conduct? Now, the normal Google search engine indexes almost everything on the web, but Google Scholar indexes academic content from the repositories of publishers, universities, and other scholarly websites. And that is a major difference between Google, the traditional Google search engine, and the Google Scholar search engine. Google Scholar is just a subset of the main Google search engine. So if you are searching using Google Scholar, it means that you are just going to get results which are a subset of the content indexed by Google. The interesting thing for us as academics is that it limits you to academic content. So if you were to be looking for some results or academic papers, it will be prudent that you use Google Scholar, which will limit you to academic content, other than just using Google search engine, which may give you news items and other content or results that are not necessarily academic. Then it is also important for us to know that Google Scholar, though provides us good academic content, Google Scholar as a search engine is less careful in what it includes in its search results, because we as academics know that some of the academic content out there are not very reliable or credible. For instance, if one publishes in a predatory journal or publishes some kind of bizarre research findings in a predatory journal, it is possible that Google Scholar will still index it, because Google Scholar is less careful in what it includes in its search results as compared to academic databases like Scopus and the Web of Science, where so much scrutiny will have to be done before the academic content is put in their database. So we have to be careful as academics in line on Google Scholar as well. This is a matter of judgment, and we have to be wary of that. Now, why is Google Scholar better than normal Google for finding research papers or academic content? One advantage of using Google Scholar is that the interface is very easy to deal with, because the results that are presented by Google Scholar is refined. And if you're an academic, you would find a lot of familiarity with the content that is displayed by or presented by Google Scholar, other than using the traditional Google search engine. We also have to note that although it is free to use Google Scholar, most of the content that we would get from Google Scholar is not freely available. So if I am looking for academic content with respect to maybe ICT access or ICT usage or digital inclusion and maybe economic development, I have to note that it is, though Google Scholar will present me results which are academic oriented or related, I may not be able to have full access to the content in terms of either the research paper or books that the search results may be related to. It is possible that I may have this content free of charge from Google Scholar, but not everything is guaranteed. Now, another useful difference is that Google Scholar gives us the opportunity to be able to copy formatted citation in different styles from Google Scholar. We will not be able to do that with the general Google search engine, even if we were to find academic content there. So using Google Scholar, we'll be able to copy our citation either in MLA format, modern language format, or APA format. It is also easy for us, if we are using Google Scholar, to be able to export some bibliographic data, either using BibTeX, either using EndNote. We can export it directly and use it with the reference manager software. Google Scholar also gives us the opportunity and presents us with links that will enable us to explore other works that are related to what we may have found on Google Scholar. Apart from that, as I have indicated, the content there, we may get some free content there because Google Scholar may provide us links that would let us easily access some text versions, the results that are presented in Google Scholar for free. For content that is not free, Google Scholar will give us directions or links for us to be able to access it either at the publisher's website, or if our university subscribes to some database, we may be able to download it free of charge. So this is just the first part of our presentation. Now, thank you very much for listening. I will now share my, I'll stop this sharing and share different screen so that we'll be able to practically look for some content using Google Scholar. And then we'll also try to understand practically what the search results mean when we get any content from Google Scholar. All right. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so yeah, this is my screen. Let me go to. Yeah, moderator, can you confirm the screen you are seeing? I'm currently sharing the center's website.
Yes, please. Yes,
all right,
please.
thank you. So the starting point for us, if we want to use Google Scholar for academic research, is for us to know the domain. And relying on the Muda's presentation to web development, the domain is basically the name of the website. So basically, if you want to go to Google Scholar, we'll just type in scholar.google.com, and it should direct us to the Google Scholar homepage. Now, to be able to understand how we can get content from this homepage, I'm going to use the search criteria. I'm going to search for ICT access and the quality of life. I'm just going to type that there. Now, this is what I'm presented with as my search result. So in 0.10 seconds, Google Scholar has presented me with 1,180,000 search results. Now, what I have been trying to explain is that if I was to rely on just ordinary Google, that would be www.google.com. This is a traditional Google search engine. So if I was to type ICT access and the quality of life, this will be the search results. And clearly you can see that there's a difference in terms of the search results displayed by Google and the search results displayed by Google Scholar. Okay. Yeah, so there's a difference. This is the results displayed by Google, traditional Google search engine, and the search results displayed by Google Scholar. Now, if you look at this, clearly, each item out of the almost all the 1,180,000 results indicated, I can bet that majority would be academic related. Almost everything here would be academic related. Now, with this content, how do we interpret the search results that we are confronted with? Now, let's look at the first article. The first search results clearly indicates the title of the academic paper. Now, at the center of the search results, it lists the academic content that matches the search criteria I have put into Google Scholar. Then on the far left-hand side, we have some other text, which indicates in terms of timelines, anytime. Then it also indicates, and we also have another text there indicating relevance, dates, and other types of articles. Now, if you go to the extreme right, the top extreme right, you will see that there's a snippet of some kind of an avatar there, my profile, indicating that I have logged into my profile. So if you are using Google Scholar, I would advise that you always log into your browser using your Gmail account. It is important for one reason, because some of the search results we find in Google Scholar, we can actually save it online and tie it to our Gmail account. We'll explain that in detail later. So these three aspects of the research resource page should be very clear to us as academics. You see on the left-hand side, the timelines are indicated, and whether you want to sort the results by relevance or by date. And then we have the main content in the middle, and then the profile indicating also the tab to visit your library. Okay, now let's look at the first part, using the first search resource as an example. The first two lines, that is, the first line is the effects of digital inclusion and ICT access on the quality of life, a global perspective. Then the second part clearly indicates the name of the actors. So the first part is the title of the academic paper. The second part indicates the names of the actors, followed by the journal in which the paper was published. This is followed by the year, and then we also have the publisher. Okay, then following this, we have a preview of the content of the paper displayed above. So here we have the highlighted portion is just a preview of the paper. And it says this study examines the effect of global digital inclusion and ICT access on the quality of life. That's a preview. So even looking at the content of the preview will give us an idea as to the relevance of this article or this paper to the search criteria we have indicated. Now, if I want to access this paper easily, I would have to click on the title. This is clickable. So if I click on the title, it is possible that it will take me to the publisher's website. I'm just going to show an example. I click on it, it takes me directly to Technology in Societies. That's a journal, and it takes me to Science Direct website. Going back to the search results, we need to understand the other aspects of it. The search results are not limited in any way by timeline. So it means that and if you look on the far right-hand side, you will see that any time is indicated in red, which means that the search results are indicated from as far back as you can imagine, or as far back as content relates to this particular search criteria we have indicated. So if I was to limit it in terms of year, maybe a 10-year period, I could use the custom range here. I could click on the custom range here and indicate the timeline in there. We are currently in 2022, so 2012 would be 10 years back. So I can indicate 2012 and then either leave the current year blank or indicate 2022 and then click search. And if I do that, Google Scholar will limit my search results to only 10 years, only a decade. And with this decade, you will see that out of 1,180,000, my search results are now 345,000. And in that order, I can continue to limit my search results. So if I was to easily limit my search results to 2018, I would just click on since 2018. And if I do that, it limits my search results to 68,100. If I limit it to since 2021, it brings it to 22,400. And if I limit it to since 2022, it brings it to 17,400. So this is how I can limit my search results. For now, we are not limiting our search results in terms of timeline. So we are using any time, and that gives us 1,180,000 search results. It would so much a daunting task for an academic to be able to go through 1,180,000 search results. So you have to find a way to be able to limit your search results, and we'll look at some of this as we proceed. Now, after looking at the title, looking at the artist's name, where the journal, the name of the journal, the year, and the publisher, we also have the preview. The next critical thing we need to look at is this particular star button or the save button. Now, if you have logged into your Google profile, it is easier for you to be able to save the articles you have found relevant to your search criteria. So if I was to click on save, it will basically indicate where I would want to save it. So if I am a practitioner or I'm a lecturer or an academic of some sort, what I will basically do would be to create a label. So to be able to save, say, the second one, I've already saved the first one. If I want to remove, let me remove it and then save it again. So to be able to save the first one, I'll click on the star or the save button. And if I do that, there will be a pop-up window asking me where I want to save it. If I already have a label, I can choose which label I want to save this particular content. If I don't have any label, then I may create a label for it by just scrolling down and creating new. So I can create we are having a Center for ICT for this, so I can say Center for ICT for D. Then I'll click done. And you would see that when I do that, Google Scholar in my profile will now create a label named Center for ICT for D. So anytime I see any content related to this, the Center for ICT for D, I can go and save it there. If I'm an MPhil student or a PhD student, I can also create a label. I can create a label and call the label PhD. I'll call it PhD thesis. And anytime I find any paper related to my PhD thesis, whether I am traveling, whether I'm just sitting chatting with my colleagues, and my mind goes into searching for a particular thing and I search for it, there's no need for me to open up my laptop and try to save the paper. I can just go there, click save. There will be a pop-up window and I'll click PhD thesis. And then I'll click on it and click done. And the paper will be saved there. So that when I now have time to open my laptop to do proper literature review, I would clearly just go to my library. When I click on my library, it will list all my items that are saved in different labels in my library. And if I click on PhD thesis, I'll be able to see the papers I have saved my PhD thesis, and I'll be able to rely on them easily. So it means we are basically saying that when you rely very much on a Google Scholar, you can even work on the go. You don't necessarily have to work when your laptop, you don't have to open or put on your laptop to be able to work. Now, the next thing is to look at these quotation marks. What does it mean? The quotation marks basically will give us an opportunity to be able to copy the citation of the articles we have found straight into Word. So a typical example would be if I should click on this quotation, ending quotes, or the site, there will be a pop-up indicating the references in terms of MLA format, APA format, Chicago style, Harvard style, and Vancouver style. And I can basically just click on it, copy it. And if I do this and go straight to Word, I would be able to paste. I'll be able to paste it into Word. Okay. Now, the next thing will be to look at the cited by. What does it mean? Cited here, the first article has cited by 22. And it basically means that the paper, the effects of digital inclusion and ICT access on the quality of life, a global perspective, has been cited by 22 other authors or papers. So if I click on it, then it will display all the list of papers that have cited this original paper or this first paper that was displayed in my search results. Now, what it also means is that it will give me the opportunity to be able to search within those papers that cited this original article. So it means that if I now come to start searching inside here, inside Google Scholar, maybe I start searching ICT access, ICT access and the quality of life. Within it, I will be able to get some search results. Now, the next thing for us to consider would be to look at the related articles tab. If I click on related articles, it will give me an opportunity to see all other papers that are related to ICT access and quality of life. So I'll have so many indicated here. And that also is one way I can refine my search. Now, sometimes Google Scholar may give you a search result and the papers may not actually, it will not have been published at the time Google Scholar has indexed it, or it is not available for you. You may click on all versions or versions. Here we have all 4 versions. So if I click on it, it is possible that the authors may have either published this paper or uploaded this paper on either ResearchGate or some other platforms. And this will give, or maybe they have published a preprint version of the paper. And this will give me the opportunity to be able to have access to the paper in different other, on different other platforms. Then it is also possible that I can also link my Google Scholar page to a reference manager. And to do that, I have to use the hamburger button. So if you look on the extreme left-hand side at the top, there are these 3 bars, which we call the hamburger button. If I click on the hamburger button and go down to settings, if I go down to settings, I would be able to actually change the search result to suit the way I want to work. I have done so by indicating that Google Scholar should display 20 search results per page. The default is always 10. So I'm going to change it back to the default, and you see 10. It means that if I click on save, I will have only 10 papers indicated in the search results. It is difficult for me to work looking at only 10 results. So usually what I do is I come back to the settings, say, I click on the hamburger button and changing this to 20. Now, if you are a user of a particular reference manager, I always use EndNote. It is also important that you link your reference manager to Google Scholar. And to do so, if you come under Bibliography Manager, you can choose which one you want to use, either BibTeX, either reference, either EndNote or RefMan. But the default is always indicated by, the default selection is always don't show any citation import links. And if you currently check on your Google Scholar search results, this is what you are likely to see. You are not likely to see anything indicating any reference manager. But for me, as a user of EndNote, if I click on settings, and then I come down and then change it to show links to import citations, because I am using EndNote, I'll click EndNote, and then I'll be able to save. And when I save it, you will now see import into EndNote indicated here. And if I click on the import to EndNote, it will import the title of the paper, the artist details, the journal, and the year, and send it into EndNote, so that if I'm going to start doing my writing, I can easily reference directly from there. Now, so you will see that for each of the search results indicated in the middle, all these items I have described are present. So let's look at, say, the 1, 2, 3. Let's look at the fourth one. In the fourth one, the title of the paper is Quality of Life Framework for Personalized Aging, a Systematic Review of ICT Solutions. One interesting thing about this particular result is that it has a link of a PDF. So the difference between this particular result and the first result is that the first result, the paper is not directly available. And even when I click on it, it will have to take me to the publisher's website. But for the fourth one, Google Scholar indicates a link where I can easily access the PDF version of this particular paper. So if I click on it, let's see what happens. If I click on it, it will open the PDF of that particular paper, and the PDF version is available for me to see. Okay. Yeah, it will open the PDF version. So that is the difference between the some of the search results. Some of the search results, we have direct links where you can easily download the paper. It means that the first 3 don't have any direct links for you to download the paper, but the rest have direct links to do so. Now let's spend some time to look at the left-hand side menu again. And I've already explained the fact that the default option is that when you are searching for any item, Google Scholar will indicate it in terms of what? Anytime. It will not restrict you to any time, but you can restrict it to any time by either customizing it or selecting the buttons that are already indicated. One other option is that Google Scholar will display your search results in terms of relevance. Everything is indicated. So it means this is the most relevant paper Google Scholar has found in terms of ICT access and the quality of life. If I was to sort it by date, Google Scholar will rearrange the search results in terms of papers that are related to the search results and which were published most recently. So you see that this particular paper was published 16 days ago. It was available 16 days ago. The next one was available 25 days ago, 34 days ago, 53 days ago, and so on and so forth. Okay, now the next thing for us to consider would be to go back to the hamburger button and then use the advanced search. Use the advanced search. So if we go to the hamburger button, Google Scholar gives us the opportunity to conduct an advanced search. For us to be able to do the advanced search using our search criteria, we are presented with several different options. First, we will be able to use the advanced search to find articles or academic content that will contain the search criteria with all of the words in the search criteria we have indicated. So if I was to show, if I was to go back and then pick ICT access and the quality of life, just copy everything. So I want to do an advanced search. Click on the hamburger button, go to advanced search, and then I'll use the first option. Google Scholar will give me content with all of the words indicated. So if I should put it here and click search, it will give me, sorry, my sorting is currently by date. That is why the search results are small. So I have to change it back to sort by relevance. And if I do so, this is what I get. Still so huge a results for me to deal with. So what do? I may have to find a way to limit this search results or refine this search results. So I can say that I am looking for, the next option is for me to look for articles that will contain the exact phrase, ICT access and the quality of life. And this can be very restrictive because I may not find an academic paper that will use the phrase ICT access and the quality of life. And to do that, I am also asking Google to look for ICT access and the quality of life anywhere in the article, either in the title, the abstract, or the body of the article. So if I pick this one and click this, Google Scholar hasn't found any paper that uses the phrase ICT access and the quality of life strictly, exactly in any part of an academic paper. So I have to go back and restrict or refine my search. So I can use only ICT access and then say anywhere in the article, and then I'll click search. Now look what I have found. Because it is searching anywhere in the article, Google Scholar is giving me 15,600 results of papers that will have titles containing the phrase ICT access. The body ICT access is also contained, and it goes on and on and on. I could do this to get some search results, and I could also go back and then use the advanced search again to look for only the quality of life. So I could just search quality of life anywhere in the article, and I'll click search. And it will also give me search results, which will contain, the title will contain quality of life, the body will also contain quality of life, or the abstract may contain quality of life. Or maybe as part of the keywords, quality of life may also be indicated. Also, again, back to the advanced search, I can also search for, remember the search phrase I'm using is ICT access and the quality of life. If I put the phrase in here, basically what I'm telling Google Scholar is that it should find articles, books, or any academic content that uses at least one of the words ICT access, quality of life of, and all these things anywhere in the article. So if I click this, it would give me the search criteria would be is so widened, and you see that my search results has gone to 12 million instead of the first search results I did, would give me about 1.18 million. So to use this is to widen your search results. That is why sometimes when students tell their supervisor, I cannot find anything, it is because you are not able to widen your search results, or because you have limited your search results too much. And you can use some of these approaches to be able to either refine or widen your search results. Also, I can indicate in the next window that I want Google Scholar to actually find ICT access and the quality of life, but I don't want any of these words to be part of my search results. So I can indicate here, I don't want any words. Maybe we can use the word quality of life, maybe digital inclusion. Digital inclusion. So once I'm looking for ICT access and the quality of life, I don't want Google Scholar to give me content that would have ICT access and the quality of life as well as digital inclusion. So it means it should find me content with the phrase ICT access and the quality of life without the words digital inclusion anywhere in the article. That is also very restrictive. Now, if I want to be very specific, I can just indicate in the first all of the words, but I want Google Scholar to be able to find these words, or maybe let's say any of the words, at least one. But I want Google Scholar to find it specifically in the title of academic articles. In that case, I can select in the title of the article and then click search. And this is what will happen. So you see that ICT access, quality of life is, and all the other words that are included in the phrase, the research results will give me results that will contain any of these words. So you see that the first one, quality of life, is indicated. The second one, death, is indicated, and is indicated. So for me to avoid Google Scholar from bringing me search results such as the second one, the entropy law, end, because this is not meaningful and relevant to my search result, what I can basically do is that I can use keywords instead of using phrases. So instead of using ICT access and the quality of life, I could just basically say that ICT access and quality of life. And to do that, I can rely on what we refer to as Boolean phrases. And the Boolean examples of Boolean phrases are to use the words and. So I'll just add and anywhere in the article. No, sorry, in the title of the article. And I will click search. And to do that, it changes my search results a little bit. Now, other Boolean Boolean operators one can use includes the words or. So you realize that, let me just go back a bit. You realize that whilst I was searching for ICT access and the quality of life, Google, in presenting me the results, indicated, just look at here, indicated that I am looking in the title of academic papers for the words ICT, or in capitals, access, or in capitals, and in capitals, or again, and then you see that the words are separated by or. It means that I'm looking for either of these words. And we are saying that when we are looking for either of these words, or we are looking to include or refine our search results in some way, our reliance on the Boolean operators will be very helpful. And examples of the Boolean operators are and, which will mean that I want to include everything. Or we can use the Boolean operator or, and which will mean that I'm looking for at least one of the words that are indicated in the phrase I have indicated. So and is a Boolean operator, or is also a Boolean operator. Okay. Now let's go back to our search results. With this, we're just getting to the concluding part of the how to use Google Scholar. Now, it is possible that I may be looking for the phrase ICT access and the quality of life, but I know of others who have published a lot in the area. So I may indicate, for instance, if I'm aware that maybe let me change another term. Maybe I'm looking for digital resilience, the term digital resilience. And I know that Miftah Jang Alasan is somebody whose research interest or research area is in digital resilience. I can specifically use the advanced search and type his name there, either his first name or his last name. So I can just type Miftah, so that Google Scholar will return articles uttered by this particular individual, Miftah. So if I click search, Google Scholar will only give me papers which are uttered by Miftah. So you see that I have three search results. In the titles, digital resilience is indicated, and the other names, Miftah, is also indicated. Now, going back to the advanced search, remember that where my words occurred, the option that was selected is what? In the article, in the title of the article. Now let's change it a bit and see. When I stated that you should search in the title of the article, only 3 search results were returned. Now let's change it and still use the name Miftah and digital resilience. And you will see that 10 search results are now returned because I have not restricted Google Scholar to search only for digital resilience in the title of the papers. I have restricted Google Scholar. I've widened my search by indicating that Google Scholar should search anywhere in the title of anywhere in the article for the word, for the phrase digital resilience and uttered by Miftah. Sorry. If I'm also aware that that has published in a particular journal, I could still include the name of the author and then go into the journal, a specific journal, which I know to search. For instance, I could go to search in maybe International Journal of Management and Sustainable Development to see if some authors have made some contribution in terms of the SDGs, ICTs, maybe ICTs, and the Sustainable Development Goals. And then I click search. If I do this, look at the search results that I obtained. It means that Google Scholar will return only results that are pertinent to the journal I am referring to. If I want, I can also restrict it in terms of what? In terms of name. And it's because I indicated Miftah here. That is why it has returned only 2 search results by Miftah and Co. So I'm removing the artist name but only using anywhere in the article with all of the words in the Journal of Technology Management. So if I click search, what I'm confronted with would be 5 results. You see that this search results has been expanded by that. Now, the last aspect of it is for you, the author, to be able to ask Google Scholar using the advanced search to return specific search results within a particular time period. And I have explained this aspect of it already. So we can limit it to a journal, we can limit it to the author, and we can also limit it to a particular year. So I could say that I'm looking for ICTs and SDGs in this particular journal, but I'm only interested in papers that were published between 2021 and 2022. And then I can click search. In that case, it restricts me to only 3 papers published by Adam and Alassane, and also Abdallah. This is how one can use the advanced search to be able to refine one's search results. Now, one other thing as academics or practitioners that we have to be aware of is the fact that the moment you tie your Google searches to your profile, you can also follow artists who have resounding Google Scholar profiles, so that anytime they publish a particular paper that is relevant to your area of research, Google Scholar will send you an alert. And the typical example to do that, the typical way to do that will be to also go to the hamburger button, and then you click on alerts. You click on alert, you'll be able to create an alert. So if you want to create an alert, you can indicate your query, maybe ICTs and SDGs, and then you can indicate your email, so that anytime a new article comes up in this particular area, Google Scholar will send you an alert. So I can put ICT access and the quality of life, and I can indicate my email, and then indicate either all the results or most relevant results, and then I will create my alert. So anytime there's such a resource indexed by Google Scholar, it will come up, and you can always change your search result. These are just examples of some alerts I have set up using my Google Scholar profile. Okay, I think I have exhaustively covered. So let me just go back. Yeah, I think I have exhaustively covered several aspects of the search results. Now, this is just one way you can look for the literature to support your literature review process. In future sessions, what we'll do is to try and see how we can export our search results into a reference manager. In subsequent sessions, we'll also indicate how you can link your reference manager maybe to your Word document, so that you'll be able to cite as you write. Then in subsequent sessions, we'll also have a session to how you can actually assimilate or interact with your literature to be able to conduct a proper literature review, relying on some technological tools out there to enhance our literature review and academic endeavors. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osman and Mr. Modarsin, for sharing this educative insights on web development and research with us. Now we'll use about 5 minutes for our facilitators to address any question or any comments we have. So please, if you have any questions, I think you can unmute your mic, or you can type it in the comment sections and we would address it.
Yeah, so it's not only comments. If you also have a suggestion for us, because we are a young team trying to see how we can impact in the eyes of many to how easily one can conduct research. So if you have suggestions for us, suggestions are also welcomed, either now or later.
I think we have a question from Solomon. Mr. Solomon.
Thank you very much, everybody, especially our today's facilitators. I've really enjoyed the whole program. I think this is my second time. I think the maiden one I was there as well. I don't know Doc and his team's motivation, but in fact, this is very, very useful to most of us. My question, one, I wanted to know whether are there what benefits if you see that your papers are being cited a lot, and how do you also
Hello.
Mr. Solomon, I think we are having issues.
Yeah,
Hello?
but I
Please, can you?
I'm quite interested in your question, but I didn't get it very well.
Okay. Yeah, my first question was, how will I know that a paper I've published has been have been cited, and then what are the rewards when your papers are being cited by so many people? And then this also specifically to Doc. There are some papers that are restricted, that are for sale. Is there any way that you'll be able to have your way inside to download a paper, even if it is for sale? And then this one is just to the last remarks Doc made. Yeah, I actually wanted to put the request that if it is possible, those of us on your WhatsApp platform or any other of your platforms, if we can make requests for some of the topics that you are treating to see if they're relevant and if you can pick them up.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. Very insightful comments and questions. Now, the first one, how do you know if your paper has been cited? So if you have created a Google Scholar profile, or where you sign, if you have created a Google Scholar profile, you can set up an alert. Anytime your paper is cited, Google Scholar will send you an alert, and it will indicate where the paper in which your paper has been cited. So I get it quite often anytime my paper is cited. And it's not only Google Scholar. If you also have, there are other platforms like ResearchGate. If you have a ResearchGate profile, anytime your paper is cited, ResearchGate will also send you a notification that your paper has been cited. Now, what is the benefit if your paper is cited? If your paper is cited, the benefit is that it is refreshing as an academic to know that the knowledge you have tried to contribute to has been found worthy of reliance by other academics. So it's very refreshing for your paper to be cited. Apart from that satisfaction, it is also important that it is also an indicator of it's a general indicator of your relevance in the academic scene if your paper is cited. And the more citations you have, the more credible you are as an academic. Interestingly, you may have a paper that is predatory, and we would have a session to deal with some of these things in future. You may have a paper which is predatory. Maybe the findings were very robust and very good, but because you don't know your way around publishing, you went and published it in a predatory journal, and people are just relying on it. Whilst it may show the relevance of your findings and your paper, serious academics may not rely on it because of where it is published. So citations has different connotations for us as academics. Okay, so for instance, if I want to see how serious an academic is, what I would look at is to go and find out, I will look this particular academic out on Google Scholar and then see if he has any citations at all and where his papers are published. So it is important for us as academics. Now, some of the content is restricted. How do you go around it? I'm not sure if it will be proper for me to show how you can get around this, but the most approved way of getting around it is if your academic institution has subscribed to some of these databases, they can give you the access, the login details for you to be able, they can create one for you to be able to access it. If you are part of the UDS community, you can always get your access to some of these academic databases at the university library. If you are not part of an academic institution, maybe your organization may have also signed up to some of these databases. If you don't have access to any of this at all, you are not a student, you are not an academic, there are ways you can find it. There are rogue websites out there that publish some of this content, and maybe in an informal way, I can show how you will be able to find this. Because we'll be putting this content on YouTube, I don't want to indicate how you can go around these things, and then maybe later illegal action can be taken against us. But we can show you how to do that. They are there. There are many ways you can get around getting access to papers online. But one easier way to do so would be if you find a paper online using Google Scholar, and the paper, the title of the paper, and the paper is not available online, then your first shot will be to go to use the all versions option in Google Scholar. Maybe there will be a version of it available in other repository, or you go to ResearchGate. It is possible that the author may have made it available there. All right. Thank you. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, Doc, very well. But in fact, I am a final year student of University of Ghana Business School, MIS.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So I use your papers a lot.
Okay.
Alasan's own.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, how you know that I have cited your paper?
Okay.
I only downloaded them and I'm using them for my thesis, or unless, of course, they are.
I would only know you have cited my paper when your thesis is published, or when a paper is extracted from your thesis and published. If your thesis ends up in the BAM library somewhere in some corner and it's not uploaded online, I'm never going to be notified that I have been cited, because what Google Scholar does is it indexes academic content out there. So if it's not online, there's no way Google Scholar, Semantic Scholar, or ResearchGate will be able to index that content. So it must be online first before it can be indexed. Then when it is indexed, then I'll get to know that I have been cited.
Okay, very well.
Yes.
Thank you, my God.
Yeah.
I think we don't have any more questions. There was someone who wanted to ask a question, but he just logged off, I think due to network issues. So please don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch this, you can rewatch this seminar because it was recorded, and you can go back to it and try and practice what Mr. Modarse taught us or gave us the insight on, and also Dr. Osman's practical view of the Google Scholar. So thank you all once again for making time to join this educative seminar. As we promised earlier, we'll try as much as possible to bring up more seminars in the future. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day. Doc, do you have anything to say?
Oh, thank you very much for joining. And I hope you will be looking forward to future seminars, insightful seminars we intend to bring to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye to you all.
Bye.
Good night.